another reminder that fall is here. We're a few weeks into the NFL season. The leaves have started to change. There's a little bit of a chill in the air as I experienced sitting out on my back porch having my morning coffee. And now the Arizona Fall League kicks off today, not for the Scottsdale Scorpions, the team that the Pirates will be playing for this year, or I should say, the Pirates prospects will be playing for this year. Their first game is going to be Tuesday, October 8th. So, depending on when you listen to this, it could be underway at that point. I've seen some stuff out there. Go watch the videos. I know that Jim Rosati put one out from North Shore 9. Go read the articles not only on MLB Pipeline, but I know that Anthony Murphy over at Bucs on Deck has highlighted not only the Pirates prospects that will be playing in the Arizona Fall Leagues, but some other prospects that he will be watching throughout this Fall League season. For anybody that is unfamiliar with the Arizona Fall League, basically you give certain players to these Fall League teams, usually ranges between 7 and 9 players, more pitchers than position players, and you do send a coach with them. This is not an all-star team. This isn't, the top prospects within your organization. Sometimes those guys find their way onto the Fall League rosters, but it is not a prerequisite. They play around 30 games. The pitchers don't get a ton of innings. Even for the guys that are the starters, they're usually going, 2, maybe 3 innings max. And the season wraps up pretty much as soon as you think it's just getting started, it will wrap up. But I wanted to give my listeners, anybody that listens to this and maybe didn't go out and read any of those articles or watch any of the videos, just kind of what the Pirates usually do with their Arizona Fall League rosters, as well as the players that will be on the Scottsdale Scorpions for your Pittsburgh Pirates. Did notice that John Drecker put out a tweet. I retweeted that at Bucks Basement on X, that there has been a change, a late change here. Mike Burrows, who had made his MLB debut in the last weekend of the season, went 3 1/3 innings, 2 Ks, 3 walks, 2 hits, 1 earned run. A former, pretty high-end prospect for the Pirates, coming back from Tommy John surgery, has been removed from the roster, and he is replaced by a giant human being who myself and my 17-year-old daughter, 13-year-old son, got to meet when we went to Greensboro this past summer at the end of July, and that is Valentin Linares. Like I said, giant human being here. If you saw him in the bullpen for the Greensboro Grasshoppers in the second half of the year, he was in Altoona to begin the season, you wouldn't have any trouble picking him out. Basically, I told my son Carter, go down and go get your ball signed by the biggest guy in the bullpen, and he didn't have any problem finding him. Valentin had been in Greensboro for the entirety of the 2023 season, pitched 67 innings, had a 4.70 ERA, a 1.507 whip. Started in Altoona with the promotion this year. didn't have very much success up there, unfortunately. Pitched 30 and two-thirds innings, a 6.46 ERA, a 1.696 whip. Sent back to Greensboro, where he did have some success in 25 and a third innings pitched, a 3.20 ERA, a 1.184 whip, 43 Ks in just over 25 innings. Is a little bit on the older side. I believe is around 24 years old. Does, have a good pitch mix, but he does replace Mike Burrows on the Scottsdale Scorpions roster. And as far as things go with the Pirates, and especially with their pitchers, the players that Ben Cherington, John Baker, and company usually send to the Arizona Fall League on the pitching side are guys that have had their seasons shortened by IL stints, maybe did not, reach the innings counts that the team was looking for from them during the regular season. And for the most part, I mean, not with Linares and with some of the other pitchers, but with the first three guys I'm going to mention here, they did spend some time on the IL. The first one, right-handed pitcher from the Greensboro Grasshoppers, and that is Brandon Bedoy, and he is from Australia. I never know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He was on the IL from just after the 4th of July, 7-5, came back off on September 22nd, only got to pitch 29 and two-thirds innings, didn't pitch in 2022 due to injury. So it's a guy that they're trying to build up the innings count a little bit. Not that he's going to get a ton of work in the Arizona Fall League, as I had mentioned, because no pitcher really does. In those 29 and two-thirds innings, a 1.21 whip, a 4.25 ERA, 43 Ks. The second pitcher, Christian Curtis from the Bradenton Marauders, on the IL from just before my birthday. Not that you guys really need to know that, as my birthday's June 22nd. Went on the IL on June 21st. Didn't come back till August 9th. The starting pitcher only got 75 and a third innings pitched, a 1.34 whip, a 4.06 ERA, 81 Ks in those 75 innings. And then Derek Diamond from the Greensboro Grasshoppers on the IL to start the season. Came off about a month into the season on April 24th. Got 95 and two-thirds innings under his belt, a 1.32 whip, a 4.80 ERA, 83 Ks. And then you have Eddie Yean. Eddie Yean, as everybody will know now and has probably heard a few times, read a few times, is the remaining piece from the Josh Bell trade with the Washington Nationals. Will Crow no longer with the team. Eddie Yean still with the team. A right-handed pitcher, relief pitcher, performed fairly well in Altoona this past season. 73 innings pitched, a 1.33 whip, a 3.45 ERA, 69 Ks. Did get better as the season went on. Eddie Yean heading to the Scottsdale Scorpions. And then the Pirates always send a catcher, because you have to have a catcher from your system, I believe, that is familiar with the pitchers that you're going to be sending as well. In this case, it is Giovanni Planchart. He was one of the catchers for the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Only got 212 plate appearances this past season. Not great numbers for him. A 233, 354, 320 slash line with 3 home runs. He's one of those organizational catchers, a good defensive catcher. He's going to be out there, receiving probably some backfield work with Bedoy, Curtis, Diamond, Yeen, and Linares. As far as the position players, these things go a little bit different as far as the position players are concerned. The Pirates usually give a guy a nod for the Arizona Fall League when they're looking for him to make adjustments as they're making their way or will be making their way up to the Double-A Altoona curve. In this case, this season for the Pirates, Tamar Johnson is going to be the main headliner, I would say, here for the Scottsdale Scorpions, for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He did, kind of get his season back on track in Greensboro. A lot of people at the beginning of the season, go back and listen to the Minor League News and Brews episode that I did, pretty much speaking as to why I believed it was a good idea for Tamar Johnson to start his season in Greensboro. Even myself did not believe that he would be in Greensboro for as long as he was. It's talking about giving a player a little bit of a runway to not only take off, but then also land on, to have some success at a lower level. But Tamar did struggle mightily at the beginning of the season, was able to turn things around, ended up having almost 500 plate appearances, 487 plate appearances for the Greensboro Grasshoppers. Didn't see that really taking place. I know that there was a little bit of a narrative out there about, him staying down in Greensboro for the first half of the season in order to secure the first half championship for the Greensboro Grasshoppers so they could make it to the Sally League playoffs. But he really, wasn't performing well. Ended up in Greensboro through those 487 plate appearances with a 238, 372, 385 slash line, 13 home runs. He did have, as he always has, a decent, strikeout to walk ratio, striking out a little bit more than, anybody would really want from him, but not terrible. 105 strikeouts, 78 walks, 13 home runs, got a cup of coffee, 57 plate appearances after his promotion to the Altoona curve, 229, 316, 396 slash line, 2 home runs, 11 Ks, 7 base on balls, a very small sample size. And as I had said, kind of using this Arizona Fall League to help him, continue to make that adjustment, seeing some more advanced pitchers, hopefully some, Double-A, Triple-A pitchers in what will be another really small sample size in the Arizona Fall League. And then you have Kervin Pichardo. We received him back from the Jackson Wolf trade, with Jackson Wolf going back to the San Diego Padres. He had 459 plate appearances in Altoona, /252, 306, 373, 11 home runs, 128 strikeouts to only 27 walks. Not a great season for Kervin, but looking to see if he can, maybe hopefully make some adjustments or, get some growth in the Arizona Fall League. And then Sammy Ciani, after starting what would be his third season with the Greensboro Grasshoppers, really hadn't, taken that step as a young player, but did come out of the gate strong in Greensboro 82 plate appearances, slashed 324, 402, 563, 9 Ks, 10 walks, a home run. Sammy Ciani taking that step forward, and then got to see a decent amount of playing time in Altoona. 394 plate appearances, slashing 254, 352, 368, 5 home runs, 81 Ks, 35 walks. And once again, the same thing with Termar, is to maybe hopefully help him see some, more advanced pitching to, kind of make that transition to the Altoona curve, to kind of complete that transition and hopefully help him get off on the right foot as the 2025 season starts. The coach that the Pirates will be sending to the Scottsdale Scorpions is Casey Harms. He's going to be the hitting coach for the Scottsdale Scorpions, had been the hitting coach for the Florida Complex League in 2021. Myself and my family, I know that I talk about like autographs and different things that my kiddos get. My son got his baseball card signed when we were in Bradenton in 2022, I believe it was. He was the integrated baseball performance coach for the Bradenton Marauders in 2022 and 2023, and then was a bench coach for the Greensboro Grasshoppers in 2024. Every team that is assigned to whichever Arizona Fall League team it would be, you send a coach along. In the past, it's kind of been, based on maybe the type or, the players that we had been sending. If there was a certain pitcher being sent or certain pitchers being sent, the Pirates would, send a pitching coach. In this one, I would think that it is, him maybe being familiar with some of the pitchers in like a Derek Diamond and Eddie Yean, Christian Curtis, Brandon Bedoy, guys that he really knows. Also, looking to have Sammy Ciani and Tamar Johnson take those steps forward, focusing on the hitting side. But those are your Pittsburgh Pirates prospects and a coach who will be heading to Arizona. Actually, they're probably already there. I know they're already there to start the games on October 8th. Like I said, go back, look at the videos, especially the one that Jim Rosati did, and then also follow along with Bucs on Deck Substack, Anthony Murphy, Nola Jeffy, and those guys doing a great job over there. And, check to see the streams to see if you can watch some of those games, and then also follow along in the box scores. It's not breaking news that the Pirates are in the market for a new hitting coach, as Andy Haynes was dismissed of his duties. Something that myself and Scott at Pirate Takes discussed on the most recent episode of Bucs in the Basement. Go back and listen to that wherever you get your podcasts. But I've seen some articles out there as to, who should be in line to replace Andy Haynes. And one name that I see getting thrown around a decent amount that I kind of wanted to address a little bit, and that is Eric Munson, who is the hitting coach for the Indianapolis Indians, the Triple-A affiliate of your Pittsburgh Pirates. And I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into Eric Munson's history. I didn't really see him kind of as a replacement if Andy Haynes, was let go in the middle of the season, and even if he was let go right now, and it's no offense, to Eric, he has helped some players, kind of take those steps forward. But as the same thing that, people have the complaints about Andy Haynes as to, has he really helped a particular player? Give me, some specific examples. And, you really haven't been able to come up with anything. I haven't really been able to come up with anything. We maybe gave him a little bit of credit, with, what O'Neal Cruz was able to do against left-handed pitchers for the second half of the season. Maybe a little bit of, the steps forward that, Nick Gonzalez had taken, because he showed him a video of his hand placement before he sent him on his way this past offseason, not this offseason. And, there was an article written about that. So I don't know how much of that can go towards, what Andy Haynes did for Nick Gonzalez, what Eric Munson did for Nick Gonzalez. But there's really not enough of a track record of Indianapolis Indians hitters, kind of taking that step forward. And before I get into that, I just wanted to go back and just, what Eric Munson has done in his professional career. In 2013, he opened his own training facility, Gold Standard Athletics by Eric Munson. He was a coach for the 18U USA team. They won the gold medal in Taiwan right around that time. And then never really was a professional hitting coach until he was hired as the hitting coach for the Triple-A Indianapolis Indians in 2022. Has been there for 3 seasons. In his tenure with the Indianapolis Indians in 2022, and I look at OPS, everybody knows kind of what I look for within the minor leagues as far as the hitting side. The hitting side, I kind of lean towards OPS and the K rates and, the walk rates. And then on the pitching side of things, leaning towards that whip. But just a little bit of a snapshot here of, how the Indians have performed in AAA over these past 3 seasons under the tutelage of Eric Munson. In 2022, they were 10th in their league in OPS with a 752. In 2023, they were 9th with an 800 OPS. In this past season in 2024, they were 6th, and that's, not in all of AAA. That's just in their specific league. So they're not even really a top half, or it's like a top team within their own league. And that was 6th in 2024 with a 778 OPS. Don't really see, as I have said, and everybody, kind of maybe already heard before, not really thinking it's going to be a promotion for Eric Munson. Not that, I have any ill will towards him whatsoever, but, has been a part of, the Andy Haynes tree of coaching here. I just kind of want to get some new blood in that hitting quote-unquote program, because Andy Haynes' program, he was, the hitting coach for the entire organization. So from top to bottom, it's been, what Andy Haynes has, wanted to see at each and every level. So, Eric Munson has been there for the entire time. Haven't seen a ton of success from the Indianapolis Indians. So for anybody that was kind of, let's just promote that guy, he did pretty well, with some of the players, and you'll look at, different stat lines and stuff. But, kind of overall, there hasn't been a ton of success for Eric Munson in his time in AAA. more thing that I wanted to touch on before I let everybody go. Gonna have a little bit of a beer discussion, not a beer review during this time. I'll tell you why in the beer review kind of section. But this is something that I am sure that I will be, delving a little bit more into as the off season progresses. But didn't want to let this episode end without mentioning that the Pirates have brought back Max Kwan as the new director of international scouting, replacing Junior Vizcaino. Go back and listen to the episode that I did on Junior Vizcaino's time as the international scouting director for your Pittsburgh Pirates from 2017 until he was kind of, not brought back. I wouldn't really say fired. They just decided not to renew his contract and move in a different direction. Max Kwan is a very familiar name for anybody that follows the Pirates minor league system, their international scouting. He's a guy that, kind of made his name, put his stamp on the Pirates organization in the Pacific Rim, signing and being instrumental, I should say, in the signing of not only Jungkook Shim, but also Po Yu Chen, Sung Chae Chang, Solomon Maguire from Australia, Brandon Bedoy from Australia. So he's a guy that had been with the Pirates organization, left for a year to go work for Boris Corporation, is now back. Like I said in the episode I did, on Junior Vizcaino, didn't really think that, he had done a terrible job. I still think that there are players within the Pirates organization that have the Junior Vizcaino stamp on them. But now you have, Max Kwan coming back, and there are still some players that are in the Pirates organization that have the Max Kwan stamp. There is some familiarity with the organization. So best of luck to Max. Like I said, going to be looking into this a little bit deeper, especially as we head towards the beginning of the new international signing period in January. So congratulations to Max, and hopefully, we can start to turn things around a little bit quicker, because a team like the Pirates, they really need to have their finger on the pulse in the international market, in the draft, and also on the development side of things. So we're going to have to see as, how that progresses as Max takes over.
A pitcher of beer, a pitcher of beer, let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
I mentioned that this one was going to be a little bit different here because unfortunately, everyone, I haven't had the opportunity to really taste any beers, and I could have went back in my untapped vault and pulled out some some winter beers or some fall beers, because I believe last year I did a whole Oktoberfest themed beer reviews for about a month, test tasting all of my favorite Oktoberfest, also some new Oktoberfest. So if you're looking for that, go back and listen. But I had my 13-year-old break his arm within the past week, had to take him for x-rays, doing all the stuff with that. And then unfortunately, my little guy, the 7-year-old, came down with some sort of virus, took him to get him tested for everything under the sun, and they just basically said it's a virus going around. But that has been going on for, I believe we're on our 5th day here of a cough, a little bit of an upset stomach, a fever that I believe has finally broken. So hopefully he's going to be going back to school tomorrow. But the one thing that I've kind of had on my mind, with Steelers season starting, unfortunately, it is not a Steelers victory Monday for anybody that stayed up after that delay and the rain that we all knew was coming. Uh, Anybody that stayed up for that and got their hearts broken. I was really thinking, because I was the only one that was still up, the beers that I buy when I am having a Steelers party, or I should say, my family is having a Steelers party, when we put on the chili, when we have the buffalo chicken dip going, when our neighbors come over and they bring some, delicious appetizers and entrees as well. The beer that I have in my fridge that kind of is like that universal beer that everyone will drink, because not everybody is a craft beer fan like myself. And even if they are a craft beer fan, they're not as big of a fan of like the hazy IPAs as I am. Or, they may like stouts, and I'm not, as everybody knows, kind of a big stout or even a porter drinker. I'm more of the ale, the Mexican lagers, especially the IPAs, double IPAs for at least one of them, and then, hazy IPAs, session IPAs. So, what are those beers that I have in my fridge that kind of like are just universal, and that everyone, if you say, okay, just go grab a beer from the fridge as they pop over, and, they will grab one of them because it's, just an easy drinking beer for everyone. And in my mind, I kind of made, you know, four beers that everyone will drink when they come over, and it may not even be their favorite beer either, but it's one that you can just kind of have while you sit down and you're watching the Steeler game. And the first one is kind of an obvious, and for me, that's Icy Light. And for number one is because, I mean, it's a Pittsburgh staple. And they've made some changes. We see the new, brewery over there. I just saw it. I don't see it as often as I do now, but did see it the other day when I went to my godparents' 50th anniversary party. Congratulations on 50 years to Debbie and Louie, my godparents. But got to see that again. But Icy Light, number one, because it's the color of the can is black and gold. You can put it right in your koozie. That's usually a Steelers koozie for me. And everybody will grab an Icy Light. Number two, Yingling. I usually go for the Yingling Light, but the people that I have over for parties, for Steeler games, different stuff like that, they're more of the full flavored Yingling types. So I will get a Yingling. People will go down and grab that. For me, a little bit of a dark horse, and I always forget how delicious these beers are when I get them. And it was brought to my attention at that 50th anniversary party at the Marconi Club. Straub and Straub Light from St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. I had gone there a few times with family members. We used to have a camp up in that area when we would go fishing at the St. Mary's Reservoir. But Straub is probably my favorite of the local beers, the local light beer. And for some reason, I'll go and get one, and then I'll turn back to the Yingling, the Iron City, the Icy Light. But man, Straub is just an underrated beer. So if you haven't had one in a while, or if you've never had one before, go out, get yourself a Straub, get yourself a Straub Light, and really just enjoy it. And I think that anybody that comes to your house and goes down to the beer fridge, like I have one, and grabs a beer, they will be pleasantly surprised. And the last one for me is PBR. PBR me ASAP. And for me, that just kind of holds the PBR, just holds a place in my heart, in my memory bank. And it's a conversation piece because, whenever I've gotten it for, like I said, a game or, a party or something, people will always say, I can't believe you got PBR, and we'll have a nice little laugh. But hopefully, guys, I will be able to taste test some beers before the next one comes out, the next minor league news and brews. But until that time, let's go Scottsdale Scorpions, because we have minor league baseball again, which makes my heart happy.